is going to get an opportunity to start this weekend as the Atlanta Falcons have made a change. What does that say about the quarterback position in the NFL? What it do, and welcome in to the opening drive on a very busy Wednesday. Hoops tonight, Lobo men in action against VCU, their final non-conference game, a top 50 opponent in the pit. We're going to break that down. No doubt about it. We're going to hear from head coach Richard Pitino, what he had to say at Lobo Talk last night about the non-conference schedule, the schedule overall, and getting ready for VCU. Plenty of football breakdown as we know the details of Jason Eck, the new head football coach at the University of New Mexico, his contract, and now we're moving forward. You let it all out. You got the frustration. You vented about Bronco Mendenhall, and that will all come back up next year when Utah State comes to town. But now it's about moving forward for the Lobos, attacking the transfer portal, putting things together, and teams are starting to tell you what they're going to do in this new era of college athletics with revenue sharing, the house settlement. So how are the Lobos going to compete, and are they going to have to choose which sports to be good at and which sports are just going to have to try to survive? A whole lot this morning. We've got a packed house, and this is the perfect time to have these guys with me. We got Cy Riley, a former Lobo linebacker, back in town. It's good to see you, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. It's good to be here.
Good. Of course, Cy's been on the show a lot. Usually he's back home, but he's back in the 505 right now. Joining us, of course, Zay Johnson. Put in the time, man.
Yes, sir.
That was a long day yesterday, but I appreciate you coming back in it. And we got a lot to get into because I'm excited to talk about the transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, rebuilding the Lobos, but then also looking at how it's affecting college football right now in the middle of bowl season, and all these dudes are in the transfer portal. And we saw a team pull out in Marshall from an entire bowl game. But before we get there, they mentioned I want to start with the rookie quarterbacks. And Atlanta is moving on from Kirk Cousins. Raheem Morris, in a statement yesterday, said, quote, "After review, we have made the decision. Michael Penix will be the Atlanta Falcons starting quarterback moving forward." And it makes sense. You look at Atlanta, they're 7-7, and they play the New York Giants this weekend. So this seemed like the logical move now, especially with Kirk Cousins, what he has done. 1 interception, 9 interceptions the last 5 games. This was a Falcons team that was 6-3. Now they're 7-7. They need some help. You know, they need Tampa to drop a game, which is still possible. The Buccaneers are 8-6, so there's still some hope there. But even look at that game on Monday Night Football against a depleted Raiders defense, and the Falcons were still trying to hide their quarterback. They did not attempt to pass on first down in the first half. Cousins was 11 of 17 overall. They only scored 15 points. He looks like a guy that is uncertain in himself right now, looks slowed down. He was never, the super quarterback guy anyway, but he doesn't even want to move in the pocket right now. He doesn't have any velocity on his throws. This makes a lot of sense. You have an extended run of poor performance from Kirk Cousins, even though you guaranteed him a lot of money. You drafted Michael Penix 8th overall. He's been the guy in the building working, and with the Giants coming up, yes, you have a tough game at Washington after that, but then Carolina, this is a good opportunity for Michael Penix to get some experience and maybe spark this offense.
Yeah, you got to think. I want to remind everybody of back in September after they played the Steelers. The one critique that everybody had on Kirk Cousins was, can he move? Can he still get the ball down the field? Can he still make out of the pocket throws? And rightfully so, he had to knock some rust off of his injury. And they jump out to a nice start, 6-3. And just lately, they just been flat. The offense has been flat. Drake London hasn't seen the ball as much. Kyle Pitts started the season on strong, but lately over this stretch, he hasn't seen the ball as much. Bijan is still a guy that deserves the rock at least 20 touches a game. So they just got a little stagnant in their offense. And, I'm sure that with Michael Penix, you got a young guy, fully capable of moving. We saw what he was able to do last year at Washington. So, I think it's going to be a nice time if I'm a Falcons fan. Obviously, they're trying to get into the playoffs still. They still have, I think, in all respects, they have to win their division in order to, find their way into the playoffs. The South is not a strong division. But, can they beat Tampa Bay? Can they beat them out for the final divisional spot? So, that'll be, seen. But Michael Penix, I think he's the guy that they go to right now, and I'm glad that they made this change because, again, when you get into some stagnant offense, sometimes it's not more so the system than it is the player. So if they put a guy like Penix in who can throw the ball, throw the rock, and deliver timely passes and things like that, I think it'll be good for Falcons.
Yeah, and this is the fifth rookie quarterback that we're going to see in this class, and it was one that I appreciate the plan that they had, and they gave Kirk Cousins $90 million guaranteed, knowing that at best it probably was just for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Before going to Michael Penix, but their hand is forced now because of the way that offense has looked. And I know this is something we were talking about yesterday, but what stands out about this rookie class is the experience of these guys. They played a lot of football in their college career.
Yeah, and I think moving forward, I think NFL teams should really value that. And if Penix comes in and instantly, looks better than Kirk, which it's not a very high bar, it's been set. But I do think he's going to come in and play well. And then moving forward, start giving these older guys a chance. I think quarterback's the rare position where experience and playing for a long time helps. There's not like wide receivers, you want the young guys. Running backs, you definitely want the young guys. The quarterbacks, I think, moving forward, we need to start respecting the older ones, Bo Nix, Michael Penix. Caleb's struggling a little bit, but I think he needs more help. So,
and it's just time. It's still year one for these athletes, and that's the problem that the NFL has. Is it's not just people that talk about the game, the talking heads, and the fans. It's sometimes even these teams get a little too antsy when it comes to development. We saw Chicago. They already fired Matt Eberflus, and then that's another curveball that you throw at Caleb Williams in his rookie season, where he's going to be looking for a new head coach. And that's part of the conversation that we're going to have too throughout the week when we look ahead, because I'm really interested in the Giants and the Raiders moving forward, because that's Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders' destination.
Yep.
One of those two places.
Yep.
And if you draft one of those quarterbacks, do you have to at the same time bring in a brand new head coach with it?
I think they should. I mean, you look at what they're doing in Chicago. Caleb Williams has had 3 different offensive play callers this season.
Just a season.
And 2 head coaches. I don't know what type of guy we expect him to be, but if you throw 3 different, play calling personalities behind him to call the plays, he's not going to have a good year. So I think, in all regards, Brian Daboll, probably, great coach, but he was kind of handicapped by Daniel Dimes. He had a great 1 year, which obviously got him the big contract, and then, never lived up to it. So, for his play. But again, the Giants as a team, they kind of went in all on defense, and their defense hasn't been able to keep them in, football games. Daniel Jones doesn't help that out, throwing all these interceptions and fumbling the ball. So, when you look at both, the Raiders in Las Vegas, Antonio Pierce, I don't think they're going to move off of him. They just hired him last year. Obviously interim coach, had an outstanding season. The players rallied behind him. Max Crosby was his guy. I think that's another conversation where Max is going to do. He's just ended his season. But, again, there were some rumor talks for him, him going to Detroit and things like that. If the Raiders believe Antonio Pierce is the guy, which I believe they do. They've been handicapped by quarterback play. They moved off of Derek Carr.
It goes back to can you land a good OC in that situation? Right. And that's going to be the difference for the Raiders. If you can keep Antonio Pierce, you got to find a next level play caller.
I think if Cam Ward's the quarterback, I think there's a much better chance the coach stays and you don't have to switch coaches. But Shedeur, although he'll be a rookie, just with Deion being his dad, I think he's advanced mentally when it comes to football. So I think he'll be in the position where if things aren't going right, he's going to be in his own mind. He's going to think he has a solution quick. And I think he'll grow frustrated with the coach quicker, just because he feels like I've already learned from the top of the line and you're not, you're hurting me. And then you're going to get a whole campaign and it's going to be like a LeBron effect. Maybe not as powerful as him, but the coach will quickly be the scapegoat if Shedeur Sanders is struggling, like very, very fast. Whereas Cam Ward, I think it'll be more likely that things will work out. But if Shedeur is not working out quickly, it's going to be whose fault is it?
Yeah, so that one is fascinating too, because is it the people are going to be screaming about Dion and should he take over the team? And at some point too, if you're Shador, I get it.
Yeah,
you know, like
Exactly.
you're like you've grown up, but at some point too, you can't have that be the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Like any frustration, then
I mean,
you're gonna.
He's surrounded by at the college level. He's been surrounded by NFL, former head coaches, offensive play callers. So everything is advanced. It's not, again, Cam Ward, he played at Washington State. No hate to Wazoo. You have, my older brother. That's where he graduated from. No hate there, but it's not. There's nothing like that. That pipeline of getting a guy that's done it in the professional level to come down to college football. Nurse you as a quarterback. Look at his play. His play's been off the charts pretty much every year, even when he was at Jackson State. Yeah. So, that's a guy that's been extremely fortified mentally and physically. He doesn't think like, okay, he's not going through a college progression.
No.
This dude's been a professional football player for the last 3-4 years.
Exactly. And I made note yesterday, the Raiders would love for him to fall there because Tom Brady and Shador have been close for a long time. So as well as having offensive coaches in college with Dion, and then he's had Tom Brady in his corner for longer than college, since high school. So it's going to be hard to teach him things he doesn't know other than him getting reps and learning the different pace. Yep. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes with the coach.
Dude, I'm fascinated with this conversation too, just because we've seen it so many times where you kind of have you have a coach on a hot seat, they give him that one chance, and then you end up in a Chicago situation. You saw it last year with Bryce Young in Carolina. Like they pulled the trigger on Frank Reich just like that, and you add another hurdle to a young quarterback because these are the top two guys in the class. I do have something later that I want to talk to you about. Dylan Gabriel, you brought him up, the Oregon quarterback. I think might have a good destination for him. But when we come back on the other side, we're gonna ask the question: with the cushion, do you rest your starting quarterback? And can you maintain the number one seed in the AFC if you do that? We got so much to get to. It's a packed Wednesday here in the opening drive. Cy Riley, Zay Johnson, Adrian, of course, producing on ProView Networks. You can stream the show there. Xfinity Channel 26 online as well. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
Possible to make a playoff run. And some news came out yesterday. Might have some AFC teams that were hoping to climb the ladder. Might make them wince just a little bit. What is US opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck, Cy Riley, Zay Johnson with you this morning. So we saw Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes get bent backwards against Cleveland. They won that game 21-7. It's what they've been doing this season. Getting by, not blowing people out. It's the new look Chiefs over the last 2 years. But Mahomes did suffer an ankle injury. However, yesterday, head coach Andy Reid said that even though the team was taking it day by day as he deals with that ankle injury, he told reporters before practice that Mahomes would do a light practice and he was able to do everything that they asked of him. And Mahomes ended up being listed as a full participant on the team's injury report. You know, they play Saturday against the Houston Texans, but they had this stretch of 3 games in 11 days as you have the Christmas game coming up on the schedule where the Chiefs will play the Steelers. And I know, Cy, you're a Steelers fan, and you were just like, yeah, I hope they rest him and give him the cushion. But I do think that even if he was a full participant, you have a 2-game, well, it's almost like a game and a half over Buffalo because of that head-to-head. But we know the offense is struggling, even with Patrick Mahomes. But, you know, taking your Steelers fandom out of this, I mean, do you guys just keep pushing because, hey, if Patrick can do enough, he should be on the field? Or do you think about maybe resting him Saturday, focusing on Wednesday, letting Carson Wentz play? Because Andy Reid, whether he was just giving you a coach speak or not, you know, he did come out and say Carson Wentz he feels could still be a starting quarterback in this league.
Yeah. I think, well, taking out my love for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, they do have a 1.5 game lead. If anything, they should be mad at the Detroit Lions. But how could you? Their defense is like nicked up, you know, not beating the Buffalo Bills, whose schedule they play the Patriots twice and the Jets. So
they have a great finish.
I think we can mark that up as a 3-0 finish for the Bills. So
it puts some more pressure on Mahomes then.
Yeah, so I think, you know, obviously going into this game against the Texans, that defense is legit. CJ Stroud, I don't want to call it sophomore slump. He's definitely not at the same standard that he was last year in his rookie season. But, that offense is still formidable. They have Nico Collins back now. They're getting healthy. And then, they go to Pittsburgh. So I would rest them. I would rest them tonight. I do think that they need home field throughout the playoffs. Buffalo's a different place.
Well, because I think they did it last year on the road.
Yeah, this year.
But looking at the way Josh Allen is playing,
this team is not the same. It's not. And the Bills are playing like how we saw the Lions. Even while they were battling through all the injuries. So, I would rest them at least for this game against Houston. If they win, then even better. They have more room. They played the last game against the Broncos, who's still fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah,
they'll probably be in.
The schedule, I think, does change things.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you had, say, if, Kansas City had, the Raiders or someone else down the stretch, you'd consider that.
Yeah.
But looking at what Buffalo has versus what Kansas City has left, I think there's a reason that they're pushing Mahomes get right back out there. Zay, how do you feel about this situation?
Yeah, so with Mahomes, I think their schedule does matter a lot in the time of the season, but I think Mahomes might be one of those guys where he has a lot of say in it. I think they may trust him to that point. But I think back, I just went and saw that it was his right ankle, right? He's got the mild high ankle sprain. I think back to when he hurt his ankle. I don't know if it was right before the playoffs or it was in a playoff game. I remember a couple of years ago, and he was hobbling through the playoffs. And he could barely walk, and he still toughed it out and got them to the Super Bowl. And he had those 2 weeks before the Super Bowl and was able to at least look somewhat healthy in that game. So he definitely knows, and that was a high ankle sprain as well. So he knows how to handle a high ankle sprain, and that one was worse than this. So as far as him, I definitely believe he could go and give it a go because we've seen him do it before with a worse injury. But it is a matter of if the coaches will let him play. So I think it comes down to the coach's decision. I think Mahomes is going to be pushing to get out there. He's definitely dealt with worse.
Yeah, and I think we said is just getting that extra week.
Yeah.
They might have to push him these final 3 weeks of the season, but then having that number one seed, you get the only bye now.
Yep.
With the 7 teams that make the postseason in the AFC and NFC. And if you're Kansas City, you're going to need them down the stretch.
Yep.
As you said, this Saturday against Houston with what they have coming off the edges, the Steelers game in Pittsburgh, they're keeping their fingers crossed that by that time they can have George Pickens and TJ Watt back in the lineup for that game. And then at Denver, which, the Broncos are still going to be going, full force in there as, Denver wants to solidify themselves as a wild card team. So I do think ultimately we do see Patrick Mahomes playing is because of what Buffalo has done and the way that they've won games, have such an explosive offense. And if you're Kansas City, I don't think you want to play with fire again and have to go on the road like you did last year.
Yeah.
And thinking, that another year you're going to be able to get this done on the road against Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson.
I mean, I just looked down the schedule and it seems like every game is a one-score game. The only game that wasn't a one-score game was when they lost to the Bills and this past week against the Browns. So don't want to say superior, but a superior Buffalo Bills squad that beat them at home and then them on the road again against the Browns, where they beat the Browns. So, again, Patrick Mahomes needs the Steph Curry treatment. He needs that ankle, whatever doctor Steph Curry, went to for his ankles. Because the start of his career was like, okay, Steph Curry's he's going to be a bust because he can't stay healthy. He finds some magician who rubs on his ankle, give him a kiss for good luck. And now, we look at him and is he the best point guard? That's a different, best point guard of all time, but that's a different conversation. So, he needs to find this ankle doctor that rubbed on, Stephen Curry's ankle and during the offseason and figure it out.
Yeah, maybe he's out in Germany somewhere.
Yeah,
that's where they like to go. So Mahomes does say, I don't want to limit the game plan. So it seems like if they feel that he's elusive enough to get himself out of harm's way, he's going to play. And with that being the case, I believe he'll end up playing just because he's a competitor. But he says the Texans have a good pass rush, and he doesn't want to be like a sitting duck. He doesn't want to limit the game plan. So if he's not limiting the offense, he'll play. And I guess Carson Wentz, he's not a Mahomes, so it's not like you can't limit the offense with Carson Wentz. I think, he may be able to do everything Mahomes can do at a much lower level. But I think that if you have a healthy and fully able Carson Wentz in there, they can run their offense.
Yeah, the Carson Wentz redemption story, maybe, but all the pressure's on Kansas City, even with where they're at, 13-1. The schedule favors Buffalo, and Buffalo is absolutely rolling offensively. What they're doing, they have a favorable schedule down the stretch, and I think we'll see Patrick Mahomes play. But this race for the number one seed in the AFC is real right now, because if you don't get a few of those scrambles, because Mahomes always does that late in the game, he'll find that 15, 20-yard gain that might just change things in their favor. Things could get tight down the stretch. 505-246-0610. That's Sports Animal Hotline and text line for you this morning. So yesterday, Jason Eck was officially introduced as head coach for Lobo football. We got some contract details for you, but then also the state of college athletics. All right, you got the coach, you got his contract, but what do you need to compete? How do you compete moving forward with the way things have changed in schools? They're telling you where the money is going and what it's going to cost to play at a high level. We'll dive into that next here on the Sports Animal.
Brought to you by Sunward. Say hello.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
I'm David C. Chavis, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Riley, Zay Johnson with you this morning. So after Jason Eck was officially introduced, you get the contract details, and they pretty much were like, here's Bronco Mendenhall's contract. Bronco Mendenhall is making $1.2 million. Jason Eck is set to make $1.1 million in his first season. Congratulations to the 47-year-old coach who takes a gigantic step up from that Idaho Vandal salary to the University of New Mexico. But the Lobos had the coaching salary, and so they gave it to Jason Eck. And got a $50,000 salary increase each year. And, of course, the buyout figures, big buyout year one, $4 million, goes to $2 million year two, and then drops down to $750,000 from there. But hopefully I won't have to worry about that. And one of the things that I've talked about, and I've heard it, right? Fans, you're jilted. You're upset. Like, another one left us. No, Bronco left you, but it wasn't a stepping stone. Bronco Mendenhall did not get the Utah State job because of anything he did last year. It's because of what he did at BYU in Virginia. What you want Lobo football to be is to become a stepping stone, is to have a coach that has 2 to 3 years of success, put you in contention, not just for bowl eligibility, maybe flirting with double-digit games, flirting with a conference championship. Then if that coach were to leave, you go, all right, that's a stepping stone. Lobo football hasn't been a stepping stone. They're a stone that's hoping for a foundation to build on. And with Jason Eck, the challenge is, what do you have to work with? Because coaching matters, but when you look at what is going on in college football, it's, do you have enough to bring in the players? And you look at the gigantic changes that could be ahead with the House settlement, and that is then opens the door for even more revenue sharing for colleges and athletes. But first and foremost, you look at the base, the new coaching staff coming in. And Sai, you spent 4 years at the University of New Mexico. You're with Danny Gonzalez, and here's your coach. But you know this program, you know this community. What was it like? Because we haven't talked, since Bronco Mendenhall left, but you know a lot of the guys on this roster. Just what were your thoughts on just what has happened over the last couple of weeks and now moving forward, Jason Eck?
Well, yeah, I was definitely shocked. I talked to a lot of my old teammates who obviously have hit the portal since. A lot of them were angry. I should say angry, upset, definitely, about his decision to leave. I mean, again, like, nobody knew what was going to happen with him. You know, everybody kind of expected him to be here, and I guess he just flipped out on the dime. Was like, okay, I'm going to go to Utah State. Now I get it from a family perspective. You know, go back home. Utah is home for him, so I'm like, I understand that, but you know, for the guys in the locker room who, you know, he was the leader.
Hard pill to swallow after 1 year with the way he was, you know, talking about the program.
I mean, yeah, I mean, this whole transition of earn, not given, and everybody buying into that. Obviously, you know, the culmination, I don't want to say culmination, but kind of the big crescendo of it all was the win against Washington State here at home. You know, again, a ranked team, you know, comes into the dream style, and everybody kind of expects, you know, okay, you know, ranked team Saturday night, you know, people aren't gonna, you know, show up to the game. It's gonna be cold, whatever. Man, you just look at the fight of the players, the love for, you know, each other, the love for the city that all of these guys have, and then, you know, obviously the next week against Hawaii didn't go how everybody wanted to go, but yeah, a lot of guys are upset. I was quite frankly shocked. You know, but I think the good news in that for Lobo Nation is that with a lot of guys entering the portal and the roster spots number coming down, you know, here's Jason Eck, brand new football coach. He doesn't have to, you know, let guys go basically because they've already, you know, walked. So he can build this roster from top down. You know, when Bronco came, he was taking over a lot of Danny G's guys. So he's going to be able to bring in who he wants, you know, the style of play for the football players, who he likes, who fits his system. And so that's the only positive that I see, you know, with everybody entering the portal, with the roster numbers coming down. I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
And it's going to be, you know, interesting, too, to see if, you know, if any of those guys do still want to stay in New Mexico, if Eck, you know, likes what he sees, you know, having those conversations. And it's also, you know, growing in, you know, I keep saying, what resources are you going to have, right? And we know with the name, image, and likeness. Well, Texas Tech released kind of a blueprint yesterday. Their athletic director, Kirby Holcutt, shared what the revenue sharing would be like. And it, you know, with the House settlement, you're looking at maybe $20 to $22 million that's available, that you could go to, that you give back to your student athletes. And this is on top of name, image, and likeness. But this isn't say this is the number you need to compete. This is just like, all right, this is what the power like baseline is going to be. Yeah. So Texas Tech is saying that they're going to share $15 million with their football team on top of potential name, image, and likeness deals.
Yeah.
About $3.6 million with men's basketball. And then he goes down, you know, women's basketball, $410,000, baseball, and, you know, almost $400,000. But that's the new, all right, you want to play power conference football? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
For the Lobos, it's just you're like, can we get $1 million?
Yeah.
Can we, you know, how do you raise NIL funds there to compete at your level? And these are all the hills, these are all the challenges that you're working with moving forward. 505-246-0610. Marcos, you're on the opening drive. What's up, Marcos? How you doing?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Enjoy the show. Just wanted to chime in real quick. The press conference seemed to go pretty well the other day. It's tough to tell, you know, like, you know, when you hire someone at work and you go through the resumes and everybody looks good on paper, but you never really know until that person has been with you for 6 months, a year, you know, that it's going to be hard to tell with this guy, but I'm my full support to Coach Eck. And, you know, he comes from South Dakota, from what I understand, a small farm on South Dakota, number one, so he can kind of relate to the ruralness of New Mexico. And number two, he's like me. It looks like he likes to eat. So he's in the right spot for some red and green and all that. And, yeah, I just wanted to say hello, fellas. Looking at the schedule next year, that Michigan game, if there's any, like if Rudy has a tour bus going or a charter flight, man, I'd like to hop on that, man. Thank you guys for what you do every day.
Yeah, was former offensive lineman Jason Eck at Wisconsin, and he's going to enjoy the food here in Albuquerque. But what I do think is really interesting, he's told us that. So when they flew him in, was it Saturday night or Sunday night? That was the first ever night he slept in Albuquerque. And So he's all in. And I wonder how you guys feel about that. Like, because you guys come from other places.
Yeah.
And when you commit to university, forever, how long you're there, you call it home, you buy in. To me, I don't look at that as a negative, because I look at it as, yes, the contract was really enticing, but he made the decision to also bring his kids. He has 5 kids, 4 of them still with him. The other one was playing linebacker for him at Idaho, but he made the decision to bring his entire family here to buy into this community.
I mean, when I came, I had only spent one night here, when I committed, and that was during COVID, so I didn't even get a chance to visit. But my one night here just happened to be passing through from Oklahoma to Los Angeles. I was driving, Albuquerque was the place where we stopped. So still can't find the motel that I stopped at. I've been searching. But yeah, I mean, I completely understand it. The money's there, but also, Mexico is a great place. It's an unhidden gem that, people just seem to pass over all the time. So, I definitely understand that from that aspect. But, I'm more so excited about the fact that, here we have a guy, and I get Lobo fans, have a little reason to be cautious because, we thought Bronco was still going to be the head coach. We thought that this was the guy, talked about, this big talk. Here we go. We're not going to have, we're going to, limit media access to practice. No pictures, no videos of, the players. You got a certain amount of time period. He definitely put his stamp on the football program. And now with the new guy coming in, Jason Eck, here's a guy that, again, not many Lobo fans kind of knew about beforehand. Just because they didn't know about him doesn't mean he wasn't a good football coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I think going forward, as long as Lobo Nation rallies behind him, and gives to the NIL, shows up, on game days, the attendance numbers get going. And yes, I get it. I, don't want to say earned, not given, but yeah, Jason X kind of got to earn that a little bit, but we also have to be able to.
He's got to come with a different motto for this year's team. That's for sure.
We got to give it to him.
Yeah, and when I first got to New Mexico Highlands, I didn't visit at all, and it was a little before COVID.
That is definitely more of a culture shock too, being up there at Highlands.
And so I get there, and I love sleeping in the cold. I love when my room's cold, and I get there, and I'm looking for the AC right away in my dorm room. I'm like, oh, where's the AC? And she goes, yeah, there's no AC here.
You think you get AC at Highlands?
Yeah, she's like, there's no AC here, but it gets cold at night. And I'm like, I don't think you know what I mean by wanting to sleep cold. But no, I had a horrible culture shock. I remember laying on the floor and just sobbing because I'm like, did I make a mistake? Like, is this one of those times when I finally messed up? And it turns out everything happens for a reason. But being in Las Vegas, New Mexico, when I was in college, and then now being in Albuquerque as I enter adulthood, it definitely, Albuquerque now feels like might as well be Chicago or Las Vegas, Nevada, because I started in Las Vegas, New Mexico. But yeah, me personally, I have no complaints about Albuquerque. I think the people are awesome. And the biggest thing about staying, I noticed about anybody that even stayed at Highlands, because the transfer portal became a thing while I was there. And you got to have that chip on your shoulder, and you have to find the joy in turning around a program. You have to find the joy in being a diamond in the rough, rebuilding. You can't have that thing inside of you where you want to be on a winning team right away. Like, you have to be willing to put in the work, go through the grind, and try to really infuse yourself in the community as well, because it's very, very community driven here.
When we come back on the other side, I do want to touch on that development piece to it, and something Jason Eck told us when he was with us on Monday, and acknowledging that things aren't always 3 to 4 years, but how do you put a positive spin on that? It's coming up next. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal: to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the
conversation on Monday with Jason Akin. I'm really interested too to see how the buzz carries over in the offseason. And this is tough, man. You're asking people to invest, and a lot of time without the payoff. And that comes with, on top of tickets and what it costs to go to a game, then you're asking for money for name, image, and likeness. It's the world you live in right now, man. That's the way college athletics are playing. And if you want to compete, you got to have name, image, and likeness. And 505 Sports Ventures Foundation is that for the University of New Mexico. But what are you going to buy into as a Lobo football fan? I will say, as we've discussed, the portal, buying into community, I like the fact that Jason Eck acknowledges it, and people aren't running from it anymore, man. They know it's not going to be 4 years. Like, Cy, you're the last dude that I think probably is going to play 4 years anywhere.
All right.
You might be the last guy that stays at one university for 4 years, because the we're just talking about, like, it. And I know, Zay, you have a bunch of friends that just got in the transfer portal, but it feels like if you're not in the portal, you're missing out, right? You're like, oh man, like, I have to be in the portal. I got to see what's on the other side. But knowing that's happening, I did like how Jason Eck talked about, we're going to develop players. And if they go on to a power conference school, good. Because we want guys to know you can come here, get better, and make that jump.
Yeah.
And it's not, I know some people have said just become a farm system. Like, okay, like, it's not a true farm system. But if you can carve out your niche, and if you don't get frustrated by that, the coaching staff understands it. Hey, we might develop players that we lose, but we're going to be a program that develops players, wins games, and if they move on, that's good for everyone. And I think you have to acknowledge that. And at the University of Mexico, kind of have that mindset of, we might lose some of our best players, but if we can get guys in the program that get better, develop some depth there, that's a way to compete at this level.
Yeah. I think, we talked about this a little bit in the offseason, previously. Yeah, you got to find the way to do it, right? Especially Group of Five. Like, if you're going to be that farm feeder school, then everybody's got to buy into that. That comes from, the fans' perspective. That comes from, coach's perspective. If we're going to keep, you would love to have guys. Yeah. You would love to have guys stay, and you would love to give them the bag each and every year. But again, how are you going to compete with it? Texas Tech?
Exactly.
If they're going to throw millions at a dude, like, couple hundred thousands at a dude, you really can't. So you got to, know the game, which is number one, where we are. We're in the Mountain West, the new Mountain West, as Coach Eck is saying. Number two, you got to know how it's done. So if you're going to have guys like a Devin Dampierre who come from Arizona, true freshman, walks on the field, takes it over, his second year. Now, he's almost accounted for 300,000 yards of total offense by himself. By himself.
First team quarterback for the Lobos.
By himself. So if he's able to come in and we develop him and he has a great year and now he's going to Utah, okay, so why can't we do that again? And he went through a coaching change as well. So yeah, I think if that's the pipeline, if that's the plan of what we're gonna do, I'm all for it. I think Lobo fans should buy into it. And definitely it's gonna be hard. Okay, you might not know what to expect year to year, but if you have guys that are talented and going to the next level, as in pursuing and going to the NFL after that, I don't see why not.
Yeah, and if you're trying to stop this, it's like equivalent to trying to stop a flooding sink with paper towels.
Yeah.
Like it gets, and my buddy CJ, I guess he gave me permission to say his name. My buddy CJ, now he's in the portal. He told me that, because I asked him, I said, what could a school like UNM do to keep players? And he says there's nothing, because even the better schools, he said all the schools are throwing money. It's all about who's throwing the money. So it's a true free agency situation where you could even be Oklahoma. Like right now, I guess Arch and Quinn Ewers, they're both on UNC watch. Bill Belichick wants one of those guys, and he's willing to throw the biggest NIL deal ever to get a dominant quarterback in there. So it's really just like a clash of the Titans situation. But he did hint that, there might be some type of contract deal coming soon, or there's like contracts, and that would be a lot better. But I know you would be the guy to give the pros and cons, like especially immediate pros and cons of that if there was contracts. But you never know. There has to be something.
Well, an NIL deal is essentially a contract.
Yeah, I'm for the contract.
I do think that this stuff needs
like 2-year contract. Like
I think you should be. I think NIL actually has the power to do that.
Yeah.
Like I think that with name, image, and likeness right now, with no NCAA regulations, like the power is actually on the collective to help out these teams. Like, and I think a big part of that too is if you have a football team that's postseason eligible, do you put bonuses in there? Because right now, I'm not mad at these players. What I'm mad at is why is the transfer portal window open right now?
Yeah. I mean, guys have agents anyway.
Yeah.
While they're playing college football. Now, they might not be negotiating contracts, but endorsements and sponsorships and things like that, NIL, like guys have agents anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all for the contract. That's enough.
I disliked it until one of my close friends is now in it, and I'm like, okay, so I want you to get everything you can get. But if I was
the money,
it's really a tough situation.
Well, we got more on this because I think a big thing would be moving the transfer portal window. So it's not open when you have bowl games, when you have the college football playoffs. I think that's affecting the sport in a negative way for college football. But your thoughts, Lobo fans? Jason Eck is here. You see his contract. You've heard his philosophy. What do you think the future for Lobo football is going to be like? And we didn't forget, huge game tonight. VCU, New Mexico at the Fate. We're going to hear from Richard Pitino. Coming up next, this is the opening drive on the Sports App.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000.
I know from New Mexico State hasn't gone away. Beating Western New Mexico doesn't change what happened at the pit when New Mexico State won in overtime. But tonight is an opportunity to take a step forward. Tonight is an opportunity to add another quality game to that resume for the Lobos with VCU. The Rams in town. The Rams are 9-2. We're top 50 in KenPom, at least as of yesterday. They're 42nd in KenPom. I think the net was like 60. But for the first time in 7 years since Arizona was in town, Lobos have a top 50 non-conference opponent on the schedule. And this is what you wanted to see. New Mexico take chances, a non-conference schedule that gives you opportunities, and you get an opportunity at home. This is the start of a home-and-home with VCU. Lobos will head on the road next season. So the last opportunity before conference play to get the pit rocking. And I know the energy is going to be fantastic. And head coach Rich Pitino knows that his team has to respond in a big way because they're still stinging. Lobo fans are still stinging. Blowing out Western New Mexico did what you had to do. But this would be something that helps you at least try to move forward from that New Mexico State game. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, Cy Riley, Zay Johnson with you this morning. Last night got the call. I called it out of the bullpen. Hosted Lobo Talk with head coach Richard Pitino and head coach Mike Bradbury. I always enjoy talking basketball with the head coaches. I have some clips from Lobo Talk that I wanted to share with you as we get ready for this game tonight. And really, it's about the schedule. And I asked Richard Pitino how he's feeling about the way it played out, but he set up a challenging schedule, and I think it's going to pay off for his team.
Good. I mean, you were asking me, am I looking forward to the holidays? It all depends on tomorrow night, whether we have a good one or not. But, you know, it's been good. I told the team today, it's all about stacking up as many quality wins as you possibly can get. And certainly we've been really tested. We've traveled a lot. I really feel, obviously, that UCLA is going to be a very good one. I think USC could get better in time as well. We've got, analytically speaking, as of right now, VCU would be the highest rated team that we would have on the schedule. Now, a lot of things can change moving forward. So it's a big one. I think we still have a bad taste from that loss to New Mexico State at home. And I told them, if you want to get rid of that, you got to go get tomorrow. And it's a great opportunity.
VCU 9-2 comes into pit tomorrow night, 7 p.m. tip-off out there. And you've talked about the challenge that this schedule has presented for you. When you look at the way it's shaped up, do you like how it's played out with those challenges, but how your team has dealt with it?
Well, I mean, obviously don't like the New Mexico State loss. I think if we would have handled that, I would have thought, okay, I would have given us about an A-. Obviously lost 2 games. Playing at St. John's. St. John's is terrific. That was a hard game, but a great experience. Arizona State lose by 3 points. A very, very talented team. Beating UCLA, a top 20 team, is obviously huge. So, I mean, with a lot of new faces, we were tested. We'll see tomorrow before we grade out the non-conference. But been a lot of travel. We were just talking about the women's team. Mike is not as bold as me in scheduling. Just kidding. But it's been, I've wanted to elevate the program on a national stage, and I think we've done that. And now, we got to go handle tomorrow night.
A lot there on the schedule, but I do think that that was important. Is you wanted to see this step up, and what happened at the end of last year, like even going into the Mountain West tournament, I think we all thought, the Lobos are going to the NCAA tournament. Like that's an at-large team, and then you get to Selection Sunday. Yes, the Lobos won the auto bid by winning the Mountain West tournament, and then you hear, oh, by the way, we wouldn't have put the Lobos in the tournament had they not won in Las Vegas. And you're like, wait, that's crazy. So Rich Pitino went out there and he put a tough schedule together. And you know, I was having this conversation yesterday with Kenny Thomas, and you know, it's how much that rivalry game can affect you.
Yeah.
Because losing to Mexico State, that was a tough loss. That's one of those that's going to be a negative on the resume. But then you do take a step back and go, all right, they're 8-3. They've beaten UCLA. Had that MTE where they split with USC, Arizona State, took it on the chin at St. John's, but went on the road to New York. And they're like, this is still an 8-3 team. But man, it's just that when you lose to your rival, you forget some of those other things.
and especially like the rival that New Mexico State is, like, people up here do not like them people down there, and the other way around. So, definitely is going to sting. But again, like Coach said, if USC can be, a little bit better on the back half of their schedule, get their Kim Pom, up a little bit, and then obviously as they go into conference play, they're going to be battling each other throughout the rest of the season. So they're only going to be able to help each other out.
Yeah, it is crazy. Just we're talking about playing UCLA and USC, and that's Big Ten. Basketball. You remember? Oh, that's right.
Yeah. It makes me, and I understand the fans. They want the best out of the team, but when you just look at around, like for instance, how we're dealing with the Lobos football program right now, how the energy was for there, you would think for the basketball, 8-3. I know you should have beat State, and you arguably could have only lost one game this season. But at least just have a little bit of enjoyment. I still do believe that the basketball team is maybe the best sports team at the program. I heard the baseball team is very, very good. But I think just the Lobo basketball fans, just have a little bit of gratitude. You got a good coach,
I think they're happy. It's any rivalry game. Whether
you're just hurting about
New Mexico State, USC, UCLA, Bama, Auburn, like it's going to sting. And the way that they play that game. And speaking of that, we'll go to the second clip we have from Richard Pitino. It's he knew, and he did not want his team to forget about that New Mexico State game.
Humbling. This place is amazing, but it can create a false sense of we've arrived because our fans are so very supportive and very appreciative. It's not the fans' fault that we lost, but sometimes all that fanfare and hoopla sometimes can make you think you've arrived a little bit. And it stung, but almost was a good thing. We go from a 15,000 pit to a couple of 3,000 or 4,000. Now, it was a holiday, weird game time, Division II. So I'm not blaming our fans, not saying they've jumped off the bandwagon, but that was almost good for us because anytime you feel like you've arrived, especially in sports, you can be humbled very quickly, and we all were.
Yeah, and he said it multiple times this week in our conversation. Like that was one where it wasn't, hey, we're moving on. He's like, no, you guys need to remember this.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna watch this film. I'm not gonna let you forget the performance you had against Mexico State. And you don't want to have many of those moments, but I think as a coach, you have to pick the right times to put it back on your team.
Absolutely, and that's interesting to hear him say that because again, like you would think. Our basketball team is the premier sport. We'll just say how it is.
Yes.
They're the premier sport in the state. So yeah, they might have a little. It might creep in a little bit. Like okay, they're showing up and showing out, and we're one of the best in the country. But again, to hear your coach humble you, like you just let a school, not only the school down south, but then number two, like we haven't done anything special yet. That was last year's team. Last year's team won the championship. This is a new team. So, yeah, I'm very excited about the rest of the schedule. Obviously, tonight's a big game against VCU, not only for the program, but for the team's morale. If they go into conference 8-4 versus 9-3 with a couple of big wins in the resume, I think, that's all the difference. So, yeah, just giving them confidence as they go into the conference and just, scaring the other teams just a little bit.
And so with that, you mentioned this team isn't last year's team, and expectations are good for any team, any program. Lobo basketball has high expectations, and you just said this team has to grow into those expectations. And ask Coach Pitino about, what kind of pushing the right buttons with this year's team.
Every team is different, and you just don't know until you go through it with them. Especially now because continuity is very, very hard. You know, guys are this is going to happen every single year, and you just don't always have a pulse on it. And this group, it doesn't mean they're bad in any way, but if you give them an inch, they want to take a mile. They're not necessarily self-starters like some teams I've had in the past. Now, once you get them going, they are coachable. They've had terrific practices, but you know, I got to coach them differently than last year. You know, Jalen House, I never had to ask him to play hard. You know, JT Toppin still is one of the most productive players in the country, even on the Big 12 stage. And Jamal Mashburn Jr. was another guy, like, you never had to ask him to work. So it's not that they're lazy necessarily, but I think I've got to have a roadmap for them every single day, or they may take advantage of it a little bit. It's like I told them today, it's almost like I'm a personal trainer, and I can't let you out when you go to the gym. We got to do one more rep and do those things. And they don't fight it, so it's on me to certainly pull them out of it.
Yeah. I thought that was a really interesting one. Yeah. But I do think that's the pulse of every team is going to be slightly different, and it goes into those expectations. Like, this team has to earn that level of play, and they have an opportunity to get what could be their best non-conference win to this point. UCLA neutral court is going to be really good for the resume, but I think, you know, VCU, their metrics, their numbers are going to be really high, and just keep pushing, man. Yeah, just find the right buttons to push.
He didn't repeat the same quote last night when you asked him, but I still think to when he said that he never has had to be on top of a team as much as this one in his whole career. So I think that's a good thing, but it's also an interesting thing, especially for the fans to hear, like, okay, so this team, you know, Jalen House, I'd have to stay on top of him. I'd have to stay on top of Mash. He says, this team, I have to stay on top of this team more than any team ever in his career. But I also think there's pros to that. That means that, you know, there's something there. There's some lightning you can catch in a bottle. And he definitely sounds locked in and motivated to pull that out. He does not give me any energy that he's going to just sit back and let the ship sink. So,
of course not.
Yeah, the team's in great hands.
Well, and, you know, Jalen House was a special player, man.
Yep,
he was, and the igniter he was, and it is different. You know, Donovan Dent is a great guard, and he can be one of the best guards in the nation. But playing opposite, you know, Jalen House, and having him being the igniter and him the guy that's going at everyone, getting not just the Lobos fired up, but getting into opponents, it's a different role than all of a sudden when they look to you.
Yeah.
And, you know, Donovan's playing well, but I can understand, you know, his personality is not necessarily Jalen House. Now, he talks a lot, and we do see that.
Yeah.
But growing into that and realizing, oh, I'm the igniter now. I'm the starter for this team.
I mean, when you think about it, championship teams normally run it back with the same guys. You know, we went to the championship last year and we won it. Again, JT Toppins at Texas Tech, Jalen House in the NBA, in the G League. You know, you got Jamal Mashburn. He's gone. So, yeah, I mean, you still got Donnie Dent. You still got, you know, Nelly. You still got Mustafa. But you have a lot of new pieces. So there's going to be, you know, and they still have these high expectations. So, you know, they got to get these new guys, you know, acclimated to that high expectation and still celebrate what they did last year, but moving into this year, embrace that and attack it, not just sitting back and letting it be, okay, yeah, we won the championship last year, but that was last year's team. That's why I said and Coach has been saying, this is a completely new team. He hasn't had to be on top of them as much as he has the other teams, because, again, you have all these different parts to the equation this time, but those standards are still there. Lobo Nation is still going to show up and show out and support them NIL-wise, attendance-wise. But they're not going to want any slack on the play and on the basketball court. So, you know, by all means, Coach got to do what Coach got to do in order to get his guys to play to that standard.
505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. How you feeling, Lobo fan? You ready for VCU tonight before the holiday break? And the Mountain West play, a fantastic opportunity for the Lobos. And I know the pit is going to be jumping. The energy from the team, from the fans, it's going to be high tonight. We'll continue to take your thoughts on that. Also have some comments on the text line when it comes to the transfer portal and college football. still so much to go. It's the opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by U.S.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 40
Town VCU 9-2. They just beat Colorado State in Henderson. That was their last game out. Max Shulga, former Utah State guard, still getting buckets for VCU. Bama still dropped 25 against them. So they got two really good guards that are going to cause some problems for the Lobos defensively. But I'm excited for this game, man. This is big time non-conference basketball tonight. 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline and text line. JJ Buck joined by former Lobo linebacker Cy Riley, Zay Johnson, holding it down with you this morning. And I've been all over the place. And the talk, too, is moving forward for Lobo football with Jason Eck. And we're talking transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, and trying to build a team to compete in this era. And I got this from Terry on the text line. He says, you could move the transfer portal dates, but you have the Boise State head coach say that, 13 of his players have been contacted already. But, what are you supposed to do in that regard? Contact's always going to be there. But I still think for college football, when you want to celebrate the sport and you want to say that the bowl games still matter, even with the 12-team college football playoff, how do you have the transfer portal window right now? That makes no sense. You just saw it from Penn State. Their backup quarterback went in the transfer portal, and I know people are screaming, well, he didn't have to. Well, he kind of did, because if he doesn't go in now, then he can't go in if he wants to make a change in his career.
Yeah.
And this is one that I do think that I'm interested. I think the student athletes would get behind. They've won everything, right? You've got name, image, and likeness available. You got unlimited transfers. So the student athletes are getting a ton of benefit. I think this is a negative for the sport overall, that you go into the postseason. This is when the window is. So players are getting in because they want to transfer. They want these other opportunities. But then you have a team like Marshall that pulls out an entire bowl game.
Yeah.
Because it's not just their head coach that left, because that's part of it. Coaches want to take these jobs, want to move quickly because the transfer portal is open. To me, this seems like one that wouldn't be, we're going to lose this again. Right? We can't push back on this because we're going to lose this in court. Like, moving the transfer portal window feels like it has to happen for the sport of college football.
Yeah, it's one of those conundrums where it's like, if you miss out on your portal entry, that spot might not be there, because there's so many guys in there. You have thousands of kids looking for 15 roster spots. It's so hard. So yeah, I understand it 1,000%. Because number one, you definitely got to give the kids, the opportunity to enter the portal, not only to progress their careers, but also just give them a shot at playing. If they're at a school that they're not playing as much, it's hard to sit on the sidelines and go through the off-season training. I mean, football is a year-round sport. Mm-hmm. It's a year-round sport. You're training for it year-round for 12 guaranteed opportunities. You're playing for 4 months, if that. So, yeah, I understand them, wanting to jump in the portal, but there definitely needs to be, some rules in terms of, how we're going to, set the window for kids to enter and exit. And then number two, contracts wise, how much kids are going to get paid, the cap on that, also the expectations academically, also with the school and that relationship there. So yeah, there's definitely some things that need to be talked about and, fixed in college football.
Well, I know a lot of it is because semesters.
Yeah.
Right? It's the end of the semester.
Yeah.
So this is why you enter the portal now.
Yep.
And so you can go get enrolled in school. But you guys have been through it. You guys were student athletes. With the way college athletics moves, I think a university, you could figure out getting a kid enrolled late in January, early February.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying, well, you have to have this window now because they got to get in next. Dude, you're
always
moving conferences.
You're
sending kids from Los Angeles to Rutgers to play. And you're going to say, well, they got to be enrolled this semester. You can figure this out. Like, this is with the way college football, dominates the landscape and means so much to these universities financially. You got to find a way to clean up the end of this.
Do you think putting contracts in place would be like a two birds, one stone thing? Do you think that not only would there be more loyalty, or at least more certainty, but also you could throw maybe something in that contract, like the transfer portal date, like in this contract on this date when your contract is void, then that's when you can hit the portal. So I think if maybe they were to go the contract route, which I hear is already it's in the air, so you can just put that in the contract. Now I don't know if you would differentiate it depending on who the player was. I feel like maybe position-wise, like a team, you shouldn't have to worry about your starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think the portal as a whole, regardless, has to move until the season's over.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I would, if you were to do that, I would also then make it guaranteed money. If you throw in the contract, okay, you cannot hit the portal until X date, right? Let's say December 12th, right? Then okay, I need, or actually let's do a little bit later because starts
exactly.
Let's say December 25th after Christmas. If you want to hit the portal, after Christmas, well then there needs to be some guaranteed contract because again, this is now when the coaches are deciding to move. This is when after the regular season's done, especially even if they're in bowl, they're bowl game, they're still moving.
They're leaving.
So you also want to give some leeway for the players, but if you're going to limit them from, entering the portal, then you definitely got to throw some dollars behind them. I understand everybody's like hate with, the money and the loyalty and, the kids are just, chasing for the bag and you don't want to sell your soul for, a couple $100,000. I mean, JJ, if I offered
it sounds good, man.
If I offered you $5 or $15 million, you know what I'm saying?
See, I don't have a problem with
for
name,
1
image,
year.
and likeness.
Yeah.
I just think you just look at the sport as a whole. I also think it's, you're missing out on opportunities.
Yeah.
Because really, all those look at Marshall, right? Because they pulled out of a bowl game.
Yeah.
Right. And I get it. You're in the transfer portal because that's the time. But do you really feel better because, all right, maybe your NIL deal. Yeah. You feel better because of your bank account. I get it.
Yeah.
But
of course,
you just pulled out of a bowl game, man. Like there's dudes that aren't in the portal.
Facts.
That were like probably excited, like, hey, this opportunity, we're going to a bowl game.
Yep.
And you like pull out of it, and
that's why those players should receive something.
Yeah.
That's why if again, this is a two-way street. If the coaches decide to leave, then maybe
so
that's
but here's the thing too.
Spot.
So anytime, so if a coach it's not just a transfer portal or anything. If a coach leaves or is fired, it opens up another 30-day window.
Correct.
I just think for the sport as a whole, this window needs to be after bowl season.
Yeah.
And so you play your bowl games, you finish out, you got to college football playoff, boom.
Yeah.
And then you can figure out kids can still get enrolled.
Yeah.
You can take an extra shot. Like the stuff that you do for student athletes already.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to be mad if I'm just a regular student and someone comes in late in the semester and they might have to take a couple more classes in the summer to get eligible. Like this is just the sport as a whole, which is feeding so much back into these universities.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to hype up this time right now. Bowl season, college football playoff, and yet all we are talking about is the transfer portal.
I think, similar to how coaches have buyouts of their contract, I think the best way for everyone to be happy here is I'm imagining being on a football team and you should be able to look around. Maybe the safety's on a 2-year contract. This guy's on a 1-year contract. And their contracts that they signed, right? Now, if they do want to leave, if another school wants them, I think maybe another school should have the ability to buy out that contract. So maybe, therefore, even though a player's leaving the school, there's some
it's
sort of...
It's a soccer model. It really is. It's a soccer model. The biggest thing I have, and I know, Zay, you're not alone in that. A lot of people have thrown that idea out there. My question is, do you have to become employees, or can you just still use a name, image, and likeness contract with that? Do you have to have a union, like players association? Like, does that have to be the step that you take to get into the contract world?
I always got a W-2 anyway.
Yeah. So there you go. So it doesn't matter then, right? There you go.
It don't matter. So, no, definitely. I mean, I guess, you could be an employee. I don't, it doesn't necessarily matter to me. What matters to me is, you definitely got to give the kids a chance to find a roster spot. So if everybody's hitting the portal at one time, good. But if coaches are leaving at different times, opening different 30-day windows, periods for different, it's just everybody's situation is different. So as long as kids have an opportunity to find a spot and not just, end up entering the portal. And of course you're going to when you start limiting roster spots, you're going to have more leverage.
Yeah,
on
that
kids.
changes things too.
So, when if you're going to enter the portal, you got to or change the portal dates, you got to give kids the opportunity and time to find a roster spots.
All right, let's get Aaron in here before we take this break. Aaron, what's up, man? You're on the opening drive.
Hey, real quick question. You said you got a W-2. Did you get a W-2 or a 1099?
Might have been 1099.
Yeah, because if you got a W-2, you were an employee. If you got 1099, you're an independent contractor. So that works
New
totally
Mexico,
different.
I take that back. You're not in trouble. All right.
Yeah. So I think what you hit the nail right on the head, JJ, is if you get into the contract world, these kids are now employees.
Yeah.
So if they're employees, they're entitled to a totally set of different laws than an independent contractor. Because right now, all of these guys are working as independent contractors.
Okay.
That's the way that works. And when you're an independent contractor, you can go and leave and move and do whatever the heck you want to do. You're an independent contractor. The minute they get a W-2 and they're employees, the labor laws totally change. It's why like Uber went to court to make sure that their employees stay 1099s and not employees.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other question I had is if you push that window back to, like, let's say Christmas, I mean, how is that working with your admissions department, your athletic department, who are completely off during Christmas break, getting these kids enrolled and into school, coming back January 10th or 11th?
Give them holiday.
I mean, how would that work at all? I mean, all of those people are gone. There's no one on the back end to do that work, to be able to get these kids enrolled, to be there in January and February.
Aaron, that is a great question, and that's what we're talking about, and we're going to address that too on the other side. We got to take this break. It's the opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
This report brought to you by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Athletics works. The money that's pouring into college football from the top on down, that I think you could get universities on board, that you can get players enrolled a couple weeks into the semester.
Yeah.
Like Is this benefiting the student athlete? Yes. Yes. With if universities are going to invest this much in athletics, and you're going to say, well, the problem is because the semester starts, man, you know where you're sending these kids to play sports these days?
Yep.
Because of media rights deals.
Yep.
And how many classes they might be missing for athletics as is. Like, if you look at, you want to play sports at a high level, you want the money that comes from college football. Well, let's make the entire season a little smoother.
Yeah.
Let's let these players have an opportunity to play in a bowl game. Don't have them choose between playing a bowl game and jumping in the portal.
Yeah.
And I think universities could wrap their head around getting kids enrolled after a semester starts and figuring out where they might need to make up some of the credits.
Yeah, because, I mean, college football, it does not stop. Yeah. So, and I don't want to say sadly, but college academics, they're employees. They do need time to be with their families during the holidays. And, I'm all for that school system. It's a year-round thing. There definitely needs to be. I come from a family of educators.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather was a college professor. Both of my parents have been in the LAUSD for combined 50 years plus. So, I understand it 1,000%. But for the life that a college athlete lives and the shift in college football that there's been in the past couple of years, pretty much the past decade, there needs to be, if college football is going to be a year-round sport, there needs to be a, athlete, or even just, sports in general. There needs to be a department or, committee that's, put together so that these athletes, when they do decide to, enter the portal, that they have an opportunity to enroll, during, the dead period
The college athletics as a whole
holidays
needs, all right, restructure.
Correct.
All right, you're here.
Yeah.
It's name, image, and likeness. Student athletes can make money. The transfer portal. Okay, you guys, I'm not saying you, but all right, you guys have destroyed the NCAA, right? You push back on all those. But now you do need to build it back up. And it doesn't need to be the Wild West.
Yep.
That's not good for anyone. Yep. I don't think it's good for the players. I don't think it's good for the fans. I don't think it's good for the universities. But now I think I'm getting to your point of, okay, how do we rebuild the structure with these new rules?
Yeah.
And that has to be the next conversation.
I think priorities also come into, play as well, because I don't know how people feel, I can't tell you because I'm a student athlete, from the other side, but I don't know if people necessarily hated student athletes more or less while they were in school, because, sometimes you are paying, you're paying out of pocket, to go to school and get a free education. Whereas, we're offering our services to play a sport, for free education. So I don't understand, or I would like to know if people had, when they were in school, if they had, a certain type of,
I think their jealousy is a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do think that.
But I would say to that as well, like, if a student athlete is, going ahead and getting a free education, like, I don't want to say there should be a priority in terms of student athletes versus, a regular student, because I understand there could, there's some ethics in that. Like, how are you going to put somebody who else is paying for, millions of dollars for the university to make millions of dollars versus me who's giving, $50,000, $80,000 to, 4 years to go have an education at your school. So I would want to know the discord around that in terms of how people, see perspectives from, or see college athletes from when they were in college, and kind of the stigma that they have around that. But to me, I mean, if you decide to do that within the college athlete, it seems like you're prioritizing them more versus than, the regular student.
Yeah. And a couple of things. That number one, there's definitely a jealousy, especially with the other students who aren't student athletes.
Yeah.
But here's the fair trade-off. So yes, money only has so much value, but I remember being in English class because I was an English major. So I remember being in English class and, we're going over a book or chapters we were supposed to read. And I can just tell, like, I had just got out of weight or football practice. And there's some people that got a full morning of sleep and they get up and that's their only 2 classes of the day. Now they're paying to be there, but I think a lot of people that frown upon student athletes having the free education, like, you also have to factor in they're held to the same academic standard but there's all the extracurricular they have to do outside of class for sports. So they do kind of have to repay that in some way, I feel like. And to what you said, Sai, I definitely think that the crowd of people who, because there was complaints about athletes in college not getting paid for a while.
Yeah.
And that crowd of people that were saying, hey, well, they're getting scholarships, that's enough. I mean, they're sitting back right now and they're looking at all these problems and discussions and they're saying, see, this is exactly why it should have stayed the way it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I only had 7 in-person classes during my time here, but that was, strictly mostly due to COVID and, times of where our department had their in-person classes aligned with, our practice. So there was literally a scheduling conflict with me. So I never really got to see that, and I'm a cool guy. So
You're just a chill guy.
I'm a chill guy. So I necessarily, I just hang out with, the people in the class and, I get along well with everybody. But, again, from the other side, like, that's another issue that we got to talk about. Like, are we going to prioritize the student athletes, or are we going to try and keep everybody, equal? And then when you try and do that, now we have a whole new set of problems.
I think that ship has sailed into the waters of it ain't equal, and it's not going to ever be equal again. But as a university, if you want to chase these big money media deals for your athletic department, then you got to realize that you're going to have to do a little bit more to twist things to accommodate student athletes, because that's the era it's in. And there is a divide between the way everyone else functions and the way athletics functions at university. But I think if you acknowledge that, you build up a new structure within this era of college athletics, I think you can still have a functioning system moving forward. 505-246-0610. We got to hit this break. So much more to get to. We're talking transfer portal, college athletics, new Lobo head football coach. We got BCU, UNM tonight at the Pit. It's the opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs.
Prescriptions, copay.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills,
college football, the transfer portal. We got Lobo basketball playing against BC. You want to get your thoughts? We got to get this train back on the tracks. We're all over the place. We will get it back on track at 9 o'clock. Take your thoughts, 505-246-0610, Sports Animal Hotline and text line. It's the opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
from the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
When news that the head coach is in college football, I do think that highlights how much things have changed. Did you ever think we'd be talking about Bill Belichick, the college football head coach? Well, now he's at North Carolina attacking the transfer portal. He's brought in a general manager. He's able to set up his NFL system in college because it functions that way year to year, free agency, name, image, and likeness with the transfer portal. And then Michael Vick, Norfolk State.
Yeah, that
according
was wild.
to the Virginia Pilot, Michael Vick is going to be their next head coach. And that's the balance, right? This is what we're seeing in college football. You have the experienced football dudes, and then you're like, yeah, let's swing for the fences. Let's try to catch lightning in the bottle. Now, Michael Vick has never coached.
Exactly.
The one thing with Deion Sanders is he went to Jackson State and he started grinding. And he got the opportunity at Colorado, primetime, the swag. And this is just, you're trying to catch lightning in a bottle, just get people interested at Norfolk State bringing in Michael Vick. But it's fascinating to me, man. It's like, as a student athlete, I can see why you'd still gravitate towards Deion Sanders in primetime. I think Bill Belichick, because a lot of people were questioning, Bill going to North Carolina and like, is a 17-year-old kid going to know who he is? I'm like, yes. Like, Bill Belichick absolutely still has that pull. Like, I know he's not Deion Sanders, he's not primetime, but he has that pull with still 17 or 18-year-olds. And that's not the whole thing. Like, that's what everyone was saying. Like, you really think Bill Belichick's going to recruit? No. His assistants are going to recruit.
His name's going to recruit.
Name's going to recruit. And what Bill can do is also pick players out of the transfer portal.
Yes, and that's what he's greatest at. And Bill Belichick, he says, UNC, this is going to become a straight pipeline to the NFL. And I think a player, if you're sitting there and you're deciding between Belichick and Deion, I think the Deion Sanders type of player and the Belichick type of player, they can both be great, but I think it's got to be two complete different mindsets of a football player. I think with Belichick, you are signing up for what you know. It may be fun, but you're not going there to have fun. Like, even the NFL player said, he runs this program like it's a military system. Like, everything is very calculated. Everything is coordinated. You have to force yourself to get in a certain line. And Deion, on the other hand, he's putting the social media tags on the back of the jerseys and this.
Even with Bill, the new side of Bill Belichick we saw, he's on Instagram.
Yep. This is
he was
true.
doing Pat McAfee, he's doing Monday Night Football. Still don't think you're gonna get your handle on your jersey at UNC.
No,
I do think you're right there.
He would be disgusted if you even mentioned it to him. He wouldn't understand why you wanted it there. He would say, "Let your stats do the talking." Whereas Deion's like, "Look, I'm here for the players. Let's make this fun." But also, he knows how to lock everybody in. So I think that's the difference between Bill and Deion. And Mike Vick is just way out of left field.
Well, that's a school you're like, wait, they play football there? Yes, they do. And so they're just trying to get any interest in it.
I think this would be a great opportunity for him to, go ahead and do what Deion, was doing, because Deion was a high school, football coach.
Yeah.
And they were really good. And then, he's like, all right, I kind of want to do this college thing, not only with his sons, but also for, the culture. And so he was like, all right, I'm going to go to Jackson State, revitalize that program. That's still, pretty good for, how far behind they were before Deion came there. And now, him at Colorado. So, yeah, I think Michael Vick, this is a great opportunity for him. Norfolk State, another school that doesn't have the same resources as a, top tier Division I FBS program. But if he can get them underway and get them going, I think it'll open opportunities for him to move into like ACC's, play and possibly even, Big 12, Big 10 play. So
it's hard to, when you think of a player like Mike Vick becoming a coach, it's hard to not imagine that, he maybe won't try to make his quarterback of his team and his team play like he did. But you imagine exactly. And that's why I think the problem is, like, if it's a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady, they're teaching you how to read a defense and how to make the quick reads and make the quick throws. And Mike Vick could do that. But I feel like a lot of times his legs got him out of a lot of situations. So I think that it would be detrimental. They would have to get a quarterback that had legs.
I want, with Mike Vick too, is he just going to be the CEO type of guy?
Yeah.
And that's a little what Deion is.
Yeah.
When you look at how he's ran his programs, the assistants he's had around him, Deion, he's going to coach you up. He knows technique and stuff, but I think that's also the balance that you need to figure out, what type of head coach you are.
And what type of program you're going to be. Are you going to be the school that's, actively recruiting to be a farmer school for these bigger schools? Or are you going to be the type of program where it's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna come here and we're gonna fight to retain our guys, and we're gonna, be successful. And then when we're not gonna let these guys just walk just because. And now we just had a whole segment about this earlier. It's becoming harder to do that anyway. So, I think it'd be great for Michael Vick to go in there and, start being a feeder program for these bigger schools, which then I think will allow him for the opportunities. And just backtracking real quick to Bill Belichick, man, Bill Belichick, him at NC, man, like, I know Cowboys fans must be sick.
You guys were dreaming. You were dreaming, right?
Like,
man.
Where did this even come from?
Hey, bro, y'all had him.
This is like, it's almost like you wanted a girl and you're plotting, but then somebody else says, "Hey, you don't want? I'm gonna go grab her." You guys,
I'm like, when I seen that, I was like, dude, Cowboys fans can't catch a break this year.
And there's like no one really that attractive left over that I think
Mike Vrabel.
It's all Mike McCarthy's fault, right? You guys are gonna instantly change.
A lot will change. A lot would have changed with Bill Belichick. But so do you think this was a question I raised yesterday? So do you think this is officially like a window that Deion Sanders has opened? I know there was player coaches before him, but do you think like this is a direct correlation of like, okay, we just saw what Deion did. Let's try to repeat that here.
Deion
with Mike Vick. Is that what you're?
Yeah. Do you think the Mike Vick hire is just like okay?
Yeah, it's Norfolk State, man. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. He's gonna be. It's gonna be one of those situations where the first year's not gonna be great. Second year they can get underway. Get themselves
trying to get attention and headlines for your university,
and then third year after that take off and really set the foundation for a program for somebody else to take in. And then Mike Vick's probably gonna leave and be granted an opportunity at one of the Power 4 schools. So I'm assuming that's his plan. That would be my plan.
He was an OC in like the Allegiance, AAFL, something like that. I looked at his coaching history, and he was an OC there. And I think he resigned before the season started. Yeah, so he hasn't even officially coached.
He ain't coaching at Clemson. You know what I'm saying? Like just coming. He ain't running Dabo Sweeney off.
Like he was an intern for Andy Reid. I also read for the Chiefs. He was an intern 1 year. Yeah. That was 4 or 5 years ago.
That would be, if I was him, that would be my plan.
Well, yeah, this total. Norfolk State is like, yeah, why the heck not? Can we generate some buzz, get a little interest in our football program? It's Michael Vick.
Get some money.
Get a couple extra dollars. Is that available? Yeah. That's what you're looking for, and then we'll kind of find out if Mike Vick actually wants to do the grind, wants to put in the work that's needed to be successful in this era, because it's what we're going to, man. And I do think college football, yes, we've talked about the transfer portal, the challenges, but it's still right there, man. It's still the number 2 sport in the United States of America.
Yeah, it is. And rightfully so, like people can't get enough of football, and when you have 134 FBS teams, that should tell you right there. Like we only have 30 NFL teams, but we have 134, and that doesn't even incorporate the amount of FCS schools, the NIAs, the D2s, D3s that we have, for the sport. So yeah, there's always going to be the hype surrounding college football. It's a gladiator sport. It's an ultra competitor sport. So, there's always going to be a crazy media embrace and even cultural embrace of football as a whole. But for this guy, Michael Vick, just figure out some NIL deals with taking players to the zoo. Make sure we're doing, keeping things appropriate.
Yeah. We were talking about coaches using schools as stepping stones. So Norfolk, you think they're using Mike Vick as a stepping stone?
Yes, 100%.
And then get him out of there and get another coach in there with. I like it.
Bring him over here. You know what I'm saying? And I'll come over there, and we'll have a nice, happy marriage. And then 3 years later, we'll
see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Enjoy it.
Yeah,
have a fling. Enjoy the moment. That's what they're doing at Norfolk State. 505-246-0610 Sports Animal Hotline and text line. JJ Bucker, my side rally is A. Johnson. So the NBA Cup went final last night, and Milwaukee made a statement But the statement for the NBA is what? Adam Silver talked about the game. There's a lot of questions. So how can they turn this into a positive moving forward? It's the opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
95.9 FM.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
Well, I'm going to the frontier walk.
They're victorious over Oklahoma City at T-Mobile Arena last night, 97-81. Now, they didn't celebrate like they won a championship. They didn't pull a Laker who hung a banner, celebrated, and then LA went on to lose 10 of their next 13 games after winning the NBA Cup last year. So it was more subdued, but they enjoyed the moment. And this was a big step for Milwaukee. They started the season 2-8. Now they are 15-11, and you're watching Giannis, and you're like, yes, that guy did win an NBA championship. That guy is one of the top 5 best players in the NBA. And I think Milwaukee, Giannis and Dame, they did make a statement in this NBA Cup run. Yeah. They should be the challengers to the Boston Celtics. Figure out the rotation a little bit. You get Chris Middleton healthy. You have the role players like Giannis and Dame should be challenging the Boston Celtics. So that's what they got out of this NBA Cup run. I think the fans are still trying to figure out what it means to them. Why should you be excited for this? Okay, the players get $500,000. Mm-hmm. That's cool. But like as a fan, you're like, well, how should I feel about this? And the NBA, they're trying. They understand, the ratings have dipped a little bit. And the Commissioner Adam Silver talked about that. And he said, quote, I would just say, to say it directly, ratings are down a bit at the beginning of this season. But cable television viewership is down double digits so far this year versus last year. ... Okay. And the NBA is trying to be more of a social media league. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't get ratings for being on social media, but I think that's why they also pivoted to Amazon a lot next year, is understanding a lot of people, they stream stuff, right? Yep. You got the apps, you got your Netflix, you got your Hulu. So they're trying to get into that space, be a little bit more available. The reality is NBA regular season basketball is taking a hit.
Yeah.
And you have to acknowledge that. Now, I'm one of those dudes, obviously, sitting here talking sports in the morning. Like, I'll watch everything all the time. Mm-hmm. But then you do have to take a step back and go, okay, the person listening this morning, there's some people that haven't even watched an NBA game yet this season.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we know it's football season, but if you're the NBA, you're trying to find those headline moments. Yeah. And I think that's what they're trying to do with the NBA Cup, is get a couple like, hey, these games matter.
Yeah.
Look, our star players are actually playing, so you should watch the games now. But with that, I do think they need something more to get fan bases engaged. And I want to toss this out to you guys. We got Cy Riley, Zay Johnson, JJ Buck with you here on the opening drive. So the NBA Cup winner is probably going to be a playoff team more times than not. Mm-hmm. But how would you guys feel if the winner of the NBA Cup was guaranteed at least a play-in spot?
So, I like it.
So you have 7 through 10. It's the play-in for the playoffs. So more times than not, these teams are going to be playoff teams.
Yeah.
But what is going to be the extra incentive? Yeah, $500,000 is absolutely nice. But how are you going to get maybe fans more engaged to care about this tournament? What can you do to put a little bit more on it, that if you're a fan of one of these teams, you're like, dang right, man, we just won the NBA Cup. At least.
I think maybe if you make the NBA Cup, and I don't know exactly how far the trade deadline is down the line, make it after the trade deadline, because what if you win the NBA Cup and then there's some big-time trade and you're really not deserving of that play-in spot? Or say you have a big-time injury and you guys just completely fall off a cliff and you're 20 and whatever.
Mm-hmm. I will say I buy that just a little bit, because towards the end of the season, everybody's jockeying for playoffs position, especially in the West. Last year, I mean, it came down to like a game and a half for like 4 teams. So, I don't know. I'm gonna throw this back at you. How do you feel about the winner of the playing, or not the playing, the NBA Cup gets a guaranteed first round home series? So the first series that they play, no matter if they're like, let's say they're the 8th seed or the 7th seed or the 6th seed,
I like it.
No matter what, they get that first round at home to start the series.
I like it.
So they go, they get the first, you know what I'm saying, 4 out of 3 at home.
So there's more emphasis there. Your fan base would see something from it.
Yeah.
If you're a playoff team getting the home games,
you still have to get in the playoffs.
You still got to get in the playoffs.
You got in the playoffs. But if you get in,
there's a reward.
You could be the 6th seed, but guess what? You get to host the first round because you won the NBA Cup.
Which would suck.
And then because this you're trying to put emphasis on this. You're trying to get these teams to care. And there's a trickle down effect with the schedule. And I know some people like Mavericks fans are upset because they went on the run, they didn't get it, and so you have to add games to the schedule. Like there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff with how the NBA Cup works, and I guess so teams that lose early in the NBA Cup, you have to add games to make up for it on the regular side of the schedule. So I guess Dallas, they went on that little run, but they came up short, and I guess Golden State and Oklahoma City ended up getting added to their schedule, and those are road games. Wow! And so you're like, wait. We tried to make a run in the NBA Cup, and this is what happens now. We have to play these 2 road games. So you want to put a little more emphasis on it other than money, because money doesn't matter to the fans. That doesn't get Milwaukee Bucks, OKC Thunder fans excited about their team playing the NBA Cup because those players get $500,000. Yeah. And so I like your idea because it's putting something on it. Yeah. Right? There's pressure because you're most likely going to be a playoff team if you win the NBA Cup.
Correct.
So if you get into the first round, if you make it through the play, if you end up being a play-in, if you make it through that in the first round series, you get to host it no matter what. I like that idea because it kind of gives something back to the fan base. It gives them something to root for. Another one I thought of: do you throw it get a first round pick? No matter like they just add a pick. So even if you don't have one, like maybe you traded a bunch for a player, you win the NBA Cup. You get a bonus first round pick next year.
The only thing I would push back on with that is let's say I am the Thunder, and even though I didn't win it, let's say I won last night, and I have these first round picks. Okay, now I have 3 in the ball, or 3 or 4 first round picks, and I just get this extra one. Okay, well now I can go poach, another, okay, Pelicans, give me Zion Williamson. Okay, Miami Heat, give me Jimmy Butler. Okay.
You get an extra first round pick. You can use it in a trade. You can draft a player.
Lakers, here goes 4 first rounds and a second, and Josh Giddey for, even though Josh Giddey's on the Bulls. But here goes all these players for, so I could see that, being a little bit of a power struggle, but I do like that.
So you want, they're trying to bring some excitement to this early season window.
Hanging at banners not enough?
No. Not quite enough.
No, definitely not in Los Angeles.
So it's all right. So how, as a fan, you're going to get a little bit more investment into it. Yeah. And so I think that's something that I like it. All right. Could you flip a first round series at home? I mean, could you throw in an extra first round pick? Yeah. And hey, let's just say if you're the team that lost, all right, we'll give you an extra second round pick, right? So if you get to the NBA Cup final, there's something behind it.
Guaranteed lottery spot, or again, I just think about it. I'm looking at a team like the Rockets. Rockets are playing great ball right now. They're top 5 in the West right now. I think they might be the 4th seed, but I don't expect the Rockets to be there the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. They're definitely a good team right now, but I don't expect that to carry out for the rest of the year. If you tell me that the Rockets, who just went to the semifinals in the NBA Cup, they lost, to the Thunder. If they would have won that game and then won the NBA Cup, and let's say they finished the season as the 7th seed, if you mean to tell me that they get to take on the Thunder, again in a 7-game series, but 4 of those games minimum are going to be at home, I don't know. I feel like, that's where we should go.
You want to put a little something else.
Yeah. Something big, what I'm saying? Especially to get these smaller, market teams. You think about the Indiana Pacers, last year,
and there was a positive for them.
That was a positive. So if you get these teams that necessarily aren't, a great 82 game team, but if they can, string 7 games together, 8 games together and find, some wins, you mean to tell me, and then that'll also help them as they get into their postseason push and trying to make the playoffs and things like that. Just give these guys extra added incentives to win the game. And then also, a team like the Bucks, you don't want to go to, even though the Rockets aren't in your
but you're saying
you don't, what I'm saying? You don't want to give a team like the Pistons or the Charlotte Hornets. You don't want to give them or the Bulls. You don't want to give them, home advantage against you in a possible matchup. So I like that a little bit.
And the NBA, they've thought outside the box with the NBA Cup. They're acknowledging that, yeah, sometimes regular seasons can be tough. You play 82 games.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball is trying to deal with that. They become so regionalized until you get to the postseason. The NBA, the NHL, are just trying to find your moments, getting people excited. And, the NBA Cup, I like where it's going. I do think you can engage fan bases better moving forward. And I think Adam Silver's, acknowledging that the NBA still has some work to do.
And, I'm a huge Kobe guy. And I've always, I took the way he went about the game and how he went about the regular season and the competition and having friends. And, I only hear the complaints about, things being too friendly when you're having actual player debates, like if you're debating LeBron versus. But in this situation, I think it's now became a bigger problem. And I think that is why the NBA is having to find all these different ways to bring in viewership. Because in 2009, on a given Tuesday it was like fan night, whatever, on Tuesdays on NBA TV, it could be a regular season game in the middle of the season. And they would be competitive like it was a playoff game, especially if there was someone you didn't like. If, the last time these two teams faced, something went down. The league was just way more competitive. And I think right now, no one wants to care to watch the regular season because, number one, half the players don't care. They sit out if they're sore. And then number two, everyone's just shooting threes. So it's a combination where the players don't care as much. It doesn't seem during the regular season. It's not as competitive. You want to see two teams that don't like each other, or maybe don't dislike each other, but you want the competitiveness to make it appear that way. And I think right now it's really, really friendly. And if you could watch that versus watching college basketball when they care, why would you choose the NBA unless you're a fan of one of the teams or a player?
Yeah, I think that's a major feeling a lot of people have. Is they get a feeling of stars don't care because we talk about load management so much. The style of play, which that one, I'd have to take a step back because I'm not one that necessarily thinks the game is broken because they're playing fast. They're really good athletes. But a lot of people feel that it's not an appealing style. But it's interesting. Yeah, the NBA Cup final last night, Milwaukee wins. I think it was a big stepping point for Milwaukee because all of a sudden you realize, Giannis, Dame, this should be a contender in the Eastern Conference, and they've turned it around. They started the season 2-8.
Yeah,
and this NBA Cup run really showed that they can be contenders in the Eastern Conference. I still like Oklahoma City, even though they had one of their worst performances of the season last night. But now, how do you get more people to buy in to the product, to buy into the NBA Cup? Because you're just trying to win those moments, win a few nights early on in the season to get people interested in your product. 505-246-0610. It is the opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
We had our 12-team college football playoff, which starts this weekend. We're going to talk about these games for sure this week, including tomorrow, 8:30. Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, college football and basketball writer, joins us on the opening drive. But it was just announced that the Ivy League has agreed to participate in the FCS playoffs starting next season. And the Ivy League, they ended the year after the regular season. They played a football season and then it was over. And bowl games was it, right? You played your season and then you're done. So they're going to be in the FCS playoffs, and the FCS has found a really good formula. Their 24-team playoff that works. It gets people interested. Well, I know not just because of the Jason Eck news that started coming out, but last Friday night I was watching FCS playoff football. And there you go. And JJ Buckeye-Riley, Zay Johnson, and so you were just telling me that you almost were an Ivy Leaguer.
Yeah, I almost was. If it wasn't for the trouble I had with ACT and SAT, man, I couldn't get this course up for nothing. No matter how hard I
like,
tried.
wait a second, it's a little tough to get into these schools.
I needed 12:30. 12:30. That's it, coach. Like that's I almost was, man. I wanted to go to Penn. That was my school of that was my number one school. I never even told my parents, saying that was my number one school. I always said it was like Cal or Stanford. but when I started getting when I got hit up by coach over there, I was like, man, this is good. But I couldn't get the score up, bro.
That would have been something else.
That would have been awesome.
Awesome.
But I love New Mexico, so
it worked out 4 years at the University of New Mexico. You bought in, and now for the Ivy League schools, so they're going to be in the FCS playoff. And this weekend we get the college football playoffs. It's 12-team field. Of course, Texas, Clemson, Tennessee, Ohio State, SMU, Penn State, Indiana, Notre Dame are your opening round matchups.
Awesome games.
It's
NFL. What do they? I know you guys think you're the big dog, but I'm watching college over the Chiefs Texans.
There's always, man, the NFL is at a point where they don't care. Like they're playing on Christmas now. That was supposed to be NBA's day. Now they're taking over. They're taking over Christmas. Yeah. They're being on Netflix. They're playing Saturdays throughout bowl season. Like they don't care. The NFL, they're the alpha dog, the big dog on the block.
The big dog gonna do what the big dog do.
Absolutely. But now you're gonna have to have that split screen going. On Saturday with the college football playoffs. How do y'all feel about first ever bracket and how this is going to play out?
Well, I'm still shocked that Clemson, they were not supposed to be in, and then Syracuse gave them the end, and then they beat SMU, which was also a great game. I'm excited about that proposition. I'm also excited to not Alabama's not in. So I'm happy that they're not in.
Well, you lose to two 6-6 football teams, man. That's gonna come back to bite you.
Yeah, I'm happy to see the Roll Tide stay outside. But no, so I'm very excited about the CFP this year. I think it's gonna be great. Earlier, high competitive football games are better. I say they're still gonna be played at school, so Ohio State's going to have a great home game.
So how do you feel about you want that first round bye?
Yeah,
but
now these teams going to get
getting a chance to play a playoff game at home, and you're a top 4 team, and all right, you're playing in a big setting, but you miss out on that opportunity. Oh well, that's the system. Yeah. And I know, Si, when we were talking about this earlier, you were bringing up, if you're that 5 seed, and where you play into 4, because all of a sudden I'm looking down, I'm like, wait, so Oregon is the number 1 seed in the college football playoff,
and they have the hardest.
And you're telling me
they got
it's either Tennessee or Ohio State?
They got screwed.
Terrible.
They got screwed. That's why I said, like, going into this, that 3 seed, that 6 seed, that's the premier, spot in the CFP, because again, why would I want? I just did all this excellent hard work. I'm a college conference champion. I'm undefeated, and I got to play Ohio State or Arizona State, Texas. You know what I'm saying? Just to get into the championship game. If I'm Oregon, and Boise State and Georgia, they're chilling. They got
Boise State. If
they're gonna probably play Penn State. You know what I'm saying? So they're probably gonna play Penn State. Georgia's probably gonna play Notre Dame. I would take that all day. All day.
If I'm Oregon, I would any other spot than 1.
Yeah.
Because I have to probably gonna have a rematch with Ohio State, and that was a fantastic game. And then, but that's what happens when you want to play quote unquote the lowest seed, and so that's why 8, 9 in this case would be the lowest remaining. If everyone holds serve, but you look at going into this Texas, they're 12-point favorites at home over Clemson. Ohio State 7.5-point favorites over Tennessee. Penn State's 8.5-point favorites over SMU. And Notre Dame only a touchdown favorite over Indiana. And man, how you feeling about Boise State? Because I voted Ashton Genty number 1 in Heisman Trophy. Voting Travis Hunter number 2. So I respect it. But then there's the Mountain West side of me. He was a jilted lover. And the arrogance that Boise State has. It's not just
you hate them. You hate them.
It's because it's not just it's like you're good.
I played
but
I hate them.
It's everyone, like they're it's not because the Lobos are bad. Like they don't even want to travel to Albuquerque to play basketball or other sports. Like they just have this arrogance that like flying to Albuquerque is so beneath them. Like how dare we have to travel our sports teams to go play in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And so there is a side of me that, if you get smacked around by Penn State, I might be okay with that.
I want them to get smacked. I want them to get absolutely hornswoggled by Penn State. Number 1, they're in a rough spot, but I am reminded that the only team that they lost to was Oregon, and that was a very competitive game, and they only lost by 3. So I give them that. But, Penn State, again, another Big Ten school, they were in the conference championship game against Oregon. That was also a good game. SMU is no, walkover either. They're high-powered flying offense, fast tempo, up-tempo offense. Their quarterback, dual threat as well. Ashton Genty, obviously, he's the key to every single game that Boise State is going to play. If you can stop Ashton Genty, then, you basically stop Boise State. So, and Penn State, their defense is like that. Oregon's defense is also like that. Hence why they're number 1. So yeah, I kind of want Penn State to go ahead and beat them, but a part of me is like, dang, the Mountain West. You know what I'm saying? Money is money. So.
Yeah. And so to me, this is because a lot of people were screaming. Boise State fans were screaming, San Diego State, etc. That we have to get out of the Mountain West Conference to have an opportunity to be on a bigger stage. You're the 3 seed with a bye in the CFP. You just played a Mountain West football schedule
and a runner-up.
Yeah. And so that's what tells me it wasn't about the play. It wasn't about because the Lobos only won 2 games or 3 games. It was just strictly about you think you're that much better than having to travel your teams to Laramie, Wyoming, to Colorado Springs, and to Albuquerque.
Yeah, well, if Genty, the cowboy bias in me, I'm really trying to figure out ways
to manifest Ashton Genty to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes. So, him not winning the Heisman helps. Okay. And if he was to come out and say he just has his worst game of the year and they lose,
you just want his draft stock.
His draft stock will come on down, and that will, maybe a team won't trade up and get him, because I think that's the most likely scenario, is that some team we'll say, okay, we just add this guy. We're picking in the 20s or the late teens, but if we add this guy, we're going to be over the hump, and they're going to trade up right before Dallas and grab him.
You know what's actually very crazy, and this is why I know that I could be a great scout. They said somebody came out with a report and put a prop on whether or not Ashton Genty would be a first-round draft pick this year. Ashton Genty is a top 5, top 10 draft pick this year. Hands down. He's the best running back in college football. Their running backs that have been coming out of college football have not been good. Let's be honest.
Well, the first one was in the second round last year, wasn't it? Jonathan Brooks.
Correct. So they have not been how we have been accustomed to seeing a Derrick Henry or Saquon or Josh Jacobs from Alabama.
Zeke almost did it, but he fell off.
Ohio State, Travis Etienne, even coming from Clemson, like
Derrick Henry.
It's not the same. So when you have a guy that's clearly one of one in his position, and to say that he could ultimately fall out of the first round, I think that's crazy talk. Secondly, Zay, that Jerry Jones isn't going to let that happen.
Well, yes, this is very, very possible.
Yeah,
it's very, very possible, especially if everyone's telling him to do it, then he might go against the grain.
Yeah.
But Genty he's been vocal not twice. He did it in a sit down with another teammate, and then he also did it when he went on Micah Parsons' podcast.
On the edge.
Well,
yes.
Is Micah Parsons even going to be a Cowboy?
I would love
next season.
He should wear the star.
So Micah and Steven says, it was Jerry, says that trading Micah has never been uttered, and Micah keeps saying, we're going to find a way to make me a Cowboy for life.
Well, is that smart business for the Dallas Cowboys? We come back on the other side. We'll look at where Ashton Genty could go and what would be a best decision. Should you take a running back in the top 5, a top 10 these days? It's opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
This is
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action.
That's all right. Yes, Ashton Genty looks good. But I think I would be trying to get the offensive line done. And then I'd be looking at, okay, what about Judkins from Ohio State?
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Johnson from Iowa.
Ollie
Gordon. Like those guys, maybe second or third round after getting an offensive lineman in the first round.
And you think that'd be a better formula than running back first, lineman second round?
Yes.
Okay.
Running backs matter. They've come back this season.
Yeah.
But they matter on teams that already had an established foundation.
Yeah.
Like the Ravens were good, and then you bring in Derrick Henry, and the running game takes off. Philadelphia, good. You bring in Saquon Barkley, MVP level season.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm looking at. I said I need that foundation before I get that running back, and I don't really want to have a running back with a questionable offensive line because I don't know if Genty's going to be able to outrun that at the NFL level.
I think you're right. You're definitely correct. But I think this season has been bad for the Cowboys. But I don't want to get too far off from the fact that the year just before last year they were very, very, very good, and I don't want to be the injury guy. But I feel that if they do have a healthy roster and a better head coach, I think that this is still a double-digit win football team. I think this was just the offseason was so deflating that I think the energy, no one expected them to be good. But I don't know. I think if you add Genty to the team we saw the year before this one, which is pretty much still there, some guys are gone. I think it just puts us over the hump.
I
But
think
same with the other guys you named.
I think it's a little bit tough because, I mean, I'm looking at Ashton Genty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's my whole thing about running backs. Ashton Genty was, I don't want to say stat padding because that's not his fault. That's the OC. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he's the formula for how, they win games. This dude had 364 touches by himself this year. 20 catches and 344 rushing yards. Oh, I'm sorry, carries. Last year he had 220. That's a lot of wear and tear on your body before you even get to the NFL.
It is.
And so, one of the major concerns with running backs is their longevity, right? Their shelf life. Mm-hmm. How long can, a running back actually stay at a premier level? Ashton Genty's already passed 550 total touches in his college football career. And that's not even done because he's still got a whole nother college football, playoff game. So I would want him to go to an established offensive line already to try and limit, the amount of times that he's going to get touched. Dallas does not have a formidable offensive line right now. Zach Martin is probably going to retire, or they're probably going to move on with him. They just got rid of Tyron Smith. They have some pieces that are there that are injured as well. So it's a tough place to be if I'm Dallas because you do need a running back.
You're
can't
right.
skip. You can't pass.
Running matters in the NFL.
It matters.
The running game will help Dak Prescott, but he also needs to be protected. And you look at the NFL this season, the only way, and I was still a little, what are they doing? Like, I'm going running back in the first round is if I'm established.
Yeah.
Because you think about the recent first round running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs to Detroit. They had an established offense. And then so they bring him in there. And, oh, by the way, they still use the heck out of David Montgomery along with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Correct.
Bijan Robinson was a first-round pick. He hasn't changed everything for the Falcons because they've been chasing the quarterback play. So the only way I'd use a running back in the first round if I know I'm already a playoff team.
I would watch San Fran. I know this is going to hurt you, Zay. I would watch San Fran jump the Cowboys as the draft. Just watch this. I'm going to clip this. As the draft progresses, I would watch San Fran jump the Cowboys to 13. If the Bengals end up at 13, I would watch them jump the Cowboys to go to 13, and I think they should take Ashton Genty. They have an established offensive line. The missing piece that we always say is Christian McCaffrey, who, again, he's probably going to be out for a long time now, too. So, and then even, then their running back is already hurt. And now that Brock Purdy's going to get the bag, they're going to be looking for first round, second round talent, on a rookie contract. Here's a nice opportunity for Ashton Genty to go to San Fran and blossom.
Here's my pushback. Number one, I think we all can agree to disagree here. I think, number one, we all agree that the Cowboys should focus on their quarterback and protecting him. The San Francisco 49ers is exactly the type of team I could see jumping up. They already have their foundation, or just any other team that is, they feel like they're one piece away and they can go grab him. But when you look in Dallas, I mean, Rico Dowdle is no game breaker at all, and he's over 1,000 yards. He's had over 100 yards the past 3 games, and that's with Cooper Rush at quarterback, so there's no pass threat. Now, they haven't played the best teams, and that's a fact. But he's still over 1,000 yards. So if Rico Dowdle is at 1,000 yards, I mean, Ashton's got to at least be at 1,500. And Rico has like a significantly lesser amount of carries than a lot of the guys above him. So I think there's something there where you just maybe infuse that or enhance that. It could be good. But San Fran with Genty would be scary.
Now, that would be interesting because he hasn't been used as a pass catcher. We know Shanahan loves to get that out of his guys. But we also saw Jordan Mason carry the load early in the season, and Mason is more the Ashton Genty style runner. So see, that's what I'm thinking. Because you look at the top 3 running backs in the NFL this season, they're guys that went to good teams. It's Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs. are the top 3 running backs in the NFL because they're established foundation.
Correct.
That's when a running back can have an impact. So you're right, Zay, about you need that running game, but I also think you need that offensive line before you get something else. But in the mid-teens, this is the conversation you're having. Like, that's where I think Asher Genty is going to go. So this is a fair conversation to have about it.
Do you see a lineman that you think is a 1-and-1 kind of? If there is a lineman and you feel like he's 1-and-1, go grab him. But otherwise, I say grab the best player on the board.
Yeah. Asher Genty, I think he might be there if they don't jump up. My only pushback with Rico is he only has 4 total touchdowns on the year.
True.
So Asher Genty, he gonna get the
He's
ball.
Gonna find the end. You think he's gonna find the end? Zay Johnson. Cy Riley. We're running it back tomorrow on the opening drive. We'll have a Lobo basketball game to react to, VCU tonight, and so much more. Appreciate you, Adrian, as well at ProView Network. We got Jim Rome Show coming up next. Colin Cowherd follows that at 1, 2 men on at 4. Gentlemen, I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Mineral peace and love. Have a great day.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.